They're all dirty. It's just like this. I'll wash them when we come back. Is this a 1 hour day, right?
Yeah. Hey, gang. Thursday. Today's a bitch session. And as of seconds ago, I may have acquired something to bitch about. I don't really care, but there you go. When you do that, there we are. Hey, so I got to focus this a little bit better. Bring this a little closer, a little bit more of a zoom. There we go. That's for those on video. Anyway, for those on audio, you're listening to Up the Middle, Politics for the Rest of Us. Apparently not for everybody. And that's actually what today's topic is all about. Those that, I don't know. I mean, some of this really isn't that hard. But the hypocrisy that we're going to talk about, that I'm going to show you today, is pretty amazing. Especially David Beckmeyer was so accurate and so right. I thought more than a year ago, probably about a year ago right now, but perhaps more than that, that the people that we, the anti-Trumpers, are going to need to help are those who really aren't smart enough to realize that Donald Trump is not good for the country or for anyone or anything. But David's take on it was no, in all actuality, the people that you're going to have the more difficulty with are those who fancy themselves smart, educated, with some sort of good education. We're going to talk about a former coworker of mine who proves all of those points, especially the hypocrisy and what I call the sheep factor, and that these people just blindly follow, having no idea who they're following or where they're being taken. But also a group of people who do have a good education, many of whom I know personally, who aren't stupid, but seem to be comfortable acting like it. Yesterday, if I got to it, and I didn't, so I'll share it today a little bit. The morning motivation was going to be from Voltaire, and that is that people don't like to give up the chains that they revere. I mean, like they feel association in the MAGA movement and with the Trump administration, and let themselves be blind to those who try to show them otherwise and actually have the good intentions. But first, Pierre's Pot. I haven't been using that logo or that graphic. There we go. Pierre's Pot today is going to be, and he's watching because we just had his Good Morning Everyone up. Somebody that's been keeping me in line here with the like, subscribe, share. I can put that up real quick. Politics for the Rest of Us. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share and tell your friends and get everybody on board. They don't have to agree. They don't have to like what they hear. It's just a win. And I got an update on yesterday's Democratic rebuttal. There'll be a link. There was a link in the show notes, but I'll put it in when I relaunch yesterday's episode, when I edit out the portion that didn't make any audio. We suspect that it was copyrighted and it was blocked out by other platforms. So today's recipient of Pierre's Pot, in honor of a mentor of mine, Pierre Robert from 93.3 WMMR in Philadelphia, a radio DJ that has been there since 1981. Same station, same format, same type of show. Bringing all that old rock, making it, and new stuff, and making it new, making it still sound good, whether it's on CD, digital, or vinyl. He takes a moment to honor what he calls a good citizen also known as an honored listener. And today's honored listener is superfan Ken Williams. So good morning to you, pal. And like Pierre, here's a toast of the morning sauce, coffee, in your direction. Thanks for helping out. Thanks for listening. And thanks for doing what you do in the health community, in the healthcare community. There's the sip of the morning sauce. And thanks for joining us every day and bringing in the friends and colleagues and whoever that you talk about this show too. It's an important movement, and that's one of the things you guys missed yesterday in the 10 minutes or so of the Democratic rebuttal. And I'll make sure that there's plenty of links to that. It's important to listen, whether you agree with her or not. You can be a Republican, and you will certainly live through the 10 minutes of this lady from Michigan. If you can live through 90 minutes of listening to lies and a pep rally and whatever else you want to call it from Donald Trump. So stay tuned for more of that. That'll be in the show notes again today. And I'm going to cut a portion of it when I edit that out, because there's 10 minutes of no sound. I'm going to put an insert from me saying that there was no sound. Here's where you can go to get it. Please do. One of the things she addresses is the fact that so many of us are tired of hearing about politics. That's what he wants. That's what they want. Project 2025, the administration, Agenda 47. It's the same thing. It's just the Donald Trump version, which is incredibly watered down. That's what they want, is for you to be tired out. And this is a time where we all need to remain strong. It's 3:10 Friday morning in Sydney and Melbourne, 12:10 in Perth, 17:10 in Berlin, Germany, 4:10 p.m. London, 11:10 here on the East Coast of the U.S., 8:10 on the West Coast. You're listening to Up the Middle, Politics for the Rest of Us. I'm Jurgs, a voice that sounds like yours. Let's get this on. Oh, me on Cameo. Sorry, I still got to keep clearing the throat today. It's not sounding too good. Sorry about that. Go to cameo.com/Jurgs/book and schedule me today. It's all of like $5. It's not going to kill you. And I promise you, I will sound a lot better than what I am right now. Cameo.com/Jurgs/book. And I can send you a birthday wish, good luck on a test, a pep talk, an ass chewing. I can answer a question for you about politics, history, the Secret Service. One side note about the Secret Service is that if there's anything that I can't answer, then obviously I can't answer it. Let me make that decision. Don't presume that, he can't answer that. Ask it, and I'll do what I can. If I can't, we'll give you another shot, or we'll figure out something else. But I almost did the Rumble one. Go to cameo.com/Jurgs/book, or scan the QR code on your screen. All right. The part you've been waiting for. The hate mail. Or, as we call it, Facebook. I'm floored. I told you before, and even today, I'm floored at the number of people who are stupid. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say it on any other way, because I got to pull this up here. I'm still pulling this up. Bear with me. It's hard to say this any other way, because you've had time now. This has been, how long? I just can no longer buy the. See, why is that not? I'm trying to cut this back a little bit here. Okay, where'd it go? There we are. Um, uh, the like I said, when Up the Middle was just a podcast, you no longer have to be able to spell Google to be able to use it. What I mean by that is back in the day, you actually had to go to google.com, its own website, to Google anything. If you couldn't spell google.com, you're screwed. Your ability to learn is going to be incredibly limited, considering that Google is maybe perhaps not then, but is today the largest database in history. It also owns the second largest database in history, and that's YouTube. Now, I also teach you when we talk about fact checking not to blindly just say, oh, well, I saw it on Facebook. It must be accurate. No, no. But at least make an effort. And what do I tell you about finding something on Facebook or anywhere else? Okay, why is that cutting out? Do you guys seeing? Let me know if you guys are seeing the screen that I'm trying to share. Let me know in the chat, please, if it's cutting out on you and if it goes black or if that's just on my end. It looks like that's what happened on the Instagram feed that's up. So we'll cut it, try to bring it back, see what happens. But with try it again. With fact checking, you no longer have to be able to spell Google to be able to use it. And what I mean by that is now you see on your screen, facebook.com/ blah, 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 all that. All you have to do is type in a question, or sometimes not even that. Keywords, Trump, military history. And you'll learn that he doesn't have one, that he had bone spurs, if you believe that, on his feet that kept him from service. Point being, the excuses that people have for allowing themselves to be ignorant is, and that goes both ways, to include perhaps some of the senators that this young lady, Kimberly, is talking about. And the thing about this whole argument that I get in with her is that she keeps failing or refusing to see that I was agreeing with her on some things, on some aspects of it, on the basic concept of what this bill is striving to do. But what people on the MAGA side constantly do, and I think this is especially prevalent since the invention of the phrase alternative facts. Was that just like slid in to our life so gracefully that it's like we were being taught a new word that was only new to us, but existed as long as the English language? When in all actuality, I know, because I protected the lady who said it. She literally made that up in that interview. And we're talking about Kellyanne Conway, who sadly, for comedic purposes, is not a part of this administration, at least not on the public eye. So Kimberly, in her leather cowboy hat and fake teeth, is clearly a good old country girl Republican. Nothing wrong with that. There's plenty that there's plenty of Republican ideologies that I'm very much for. However, there are plenty of things, such as the MAGA movement, that frankly, they're not even Republican, like at all. And they're certainly also not Democratic. When I say Democratic, I'm not talking about the party, I'm talking about the style of government. So her post is not one Democrat voted to keep biological men out of women's sports. What happened to saving women's rights? I don't know. Supreme Court? Could we ask that question there? Our rights are more than just about having abortions. Correct. How about the SAVE Act, which now will be requiring women whose name on their ID does not match that on their birth certificate to bring their birth certificate with them to vote. But no, we're not disenfranchising anybody. Sure about that? And of course, pathetic. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. 80% of Americans want men out of our sports and our locker rooms. You know what? I would say it's probably higher than that. But you can do anything you want with statistics. After all, 100% of all murderers once drank milk. That is a true statement. Does not bode well for the dairy industry, does it? But look at milk and homicide. Does one really have anything to do with the other? Really? So really, how useful is that stat, if at all? The fact is, it's not. And you know that. But it's helping me to illustrate my point. What she's doing here is ignoring things I tried to tell her that we're going to review today that are very pertinent to this whole issue. Between this and groceries, I think these are the two issues that got Donald Trump elected. The other being groceries, which we'll talk about. And I start off my comment with, while I agree that there should be separation of sexes in sports, I just wish the MAGA right, and I've learned to differentiate. I don't just leave MAGA on the right and make them one big happy family. They're not. There's plenty of people on the right who are not MAGA at all. Blake Fisher being one of them. Me sometimes, contrary to what Blake and Matt will tell you. And I do separate them. I think those who are on the right and who are not MAGA appreciate that. I just wish the MAGA right would spend time doing meaningful things, like the price of eggs and other groceries that was promised. Remember day one? There's the Jimmy Kimmel bit. I think we aired that, and that also got cut out. He goes over to Guillermo, his security guard. Says, remember day one, and they do this like, I don't know, minute and a half long clip of campaign promises where all he's saying is day one. He goes to Guillermo, turns to Guillermo and he says, "What day is it?" And he's holding a sign in his lap. He's sitting on that bar stool off to stage right, and he's holding a sign in his lap that says day 37. And of course, the crowd erupts with laughter. And you can tell that this is, unlike Saturday Night Live, this is not a live show, because he asked Guillermo, what are the prices of eggs, Guillermo? And Guillermo just shakes his head and goes, too effing much. Of course, the effing part was the full word, but bleeped out because they can do that there. So, and other groceries that was promised on day one, or the defense of free nations that are under attack, like Ukraine, Israel, and Palestine. Israel has been at least threatened with attack by Iran. And I actually probably should have mentioned, for that same reason and under the same conditions, I probably should have mentioned Taiwan, but also Palestine. It's not a nation. Tell that to the Palestinians who live there. Who are we to recognize and give somebody else the permission to be a nation? Isn't that for them to do? Shouldn't it be for them to do? 250 years ago, we never really cared if anybody else gave us their blessing or not. We took it because it was ours. And had it not been for France, we'd still be eating biscuits and sipping tea. We are Ukraine's France. And we need to recognize that. These MAGA rights don't practice what they preach. Like putting qualified people, and I had a little fun with the words here, like putting qualified people in the president's liquor cabinet. Of course, that's a Pete Hegseth and company joke. So Kimberly gets right on it and says, do you really want to go there about qualified people in the cabinet? Yeah, actually, I do. I've been. Keeping men out of women's sports is meaningful. Just because it doesn't affect you doesn't make it not worth any attention, not worthy of attention, excuse me. Oh, and now you care about the cost of groceries? After 4 years of silence on the subject, please, you're better than this. I love when people do that. Like they try to shame me or shame anybody. Watch how she shows how much better she is. And I told her there are more than 500,000 student athletes in the NCAA. There are 10 who are trans. And that's according to the president of the NCAA or commissioner, or I don't know what his title is, but the head of the NCAA sports during a congressional testimony. Not from me, from somebody who actually knows. I've always cared about the cost of groceries. Gas, I have 2 jet skis that require 94 octane, and other rising costs ever since Trump 1.0 and how he squandered Obama's good economy. These are facts. I didn't say that he squandered Obama's great economy, because after the 2008 recession that he got blamed for when he wasn't even in office, he wasn't even the senior senator from Illinois. But he's the one that got blamed for it because that's the year he was elected. Everybody thinks he's in office right away, and that things in that year are his fault. Clearly, that's somebody that shouldn't be voting. Yeah. So, and of course, I usually lose my place. But yeah, I said his good economy. Look it up, people. The numbers were better in 2017 than they were in 2020. And I know it's not his fault because we had a pandemic. Well, maybe if he wouldn't have called it a hoax, it would have only been an epidemic and not a pandemic. Maybe if he would have suggested actual science and medicine instead of Mr. Clean, it would have been and it wouldn't have been a pandemic, it would have been an epidemic and not become an endemic, which is the one that comes back every year, like the flu. And I'm better than this. Well, okay. I've always cared about the cost of groceries, gas. I have 2 jet skis that require 94 octane and other rising costs since T-Rump. I pronounce that, by the way, T-Rump. Instead of a capital T, it's a capital R in honor of his fat ass. T-Rump 1.0. and how we squandered Obama's good economy. We just talked about that. I was grateful to see things starting to come down toward the ends of the Biden administration. In addition to our mutual careers in government, I worked there at the Secret Service. Yeah, in addition, wrong line. In addition to our mutual careers in government, I'm a historian and political scientist by education. I'm not lecturing, except for here, but I'm not in a university lecturing or constantly studying other statistics other than what I do for the show. But that is my degree. It is my background. It is something I followed and lived every day for 21 plus years. 21 years, 4 months, and 2 weeks, to be quite exact. So I'm a political scientist and historian by education, and now a political talk show host. I can't keep quiet on these subjects for 4 minutes. Ask anybody. Ask anybody. I can't keep quiet on these subjects for 4 minutes, let alone 4 years. Never afraid of a selfless plug. Feel free to join the conversation today at 8 a.m. Pacific, KSHP Radio, 1400 AM, 1071 FM, Las Vegas, 11 a.m. Eastern, WDJY 99.1 FM, and WZQR FM. I don't know what that frequency is, but the website, that's what's on the post, the comment, WZQR.FM. They're in Pineland, Florida, down by Naples. You can also get them on the website. And WDJY, I don't remember what their website is, but there is one. You can Google it. It's available. Unfortunately, the non-terrestrial method is only via tune-in. They no longer have a player on their brand new website, which I think is crazy. But it's their website, not mine. That time is also 4 p.m. London time on UG Media. Go to theug.media, channel XL. We're on at 12 a.m. in Perth and 3 a.m. in Sydney. Available, of course, through any of these internet stations, but primarily in Australia on Radio X AU, available at radiox.com.au, and also available on Rainbow Radio and Yergs Radio. Our call-on number is 1-888-88-YERGS, 844-GAY-LGBT. Hope to see you there. And the one that did translate is WZQR.FM, the sound of Pine Island. She replies back, 10 is too many. I agree. 1 is too many. It shouldn't be there. I agree. But I'm the one that wants to fight. 10 is too many when it comes to biological men in women's sports. Our economy was much better than when Obama was in, and no, it wasn't because anything Obama did. Not true. That is simply not true. And this is what the maggots do. They've got their heads so far either in the sand or up Trump's ass that they can't read the actual facts. Literally everything was better. Not that there weren't things that Trump did, but most of it, squandered it. The end. Don't look at me. Look at the actual stats. And certainly don't look at yourself, Kimberly, because you don't know what you're talking about. I don't know how you missed it, but I said that I don't believe athletes assigned male. See, I do this intentionally because I know this pokes the bear a little bit. Instead of saying biological men, I use the progressive terminology just to piss her off that much more. And it works. I don't know if you missed it, but I said that I don't believe athletes assigned male athletes at birth should be competing against athletes assigned male at birth. That's a typo. That should be assigned male at birth instead of athlete's birth. But at least I'm consistent. Maybe you missed it, or maybe it doesn't fit your narrative to just argue. As for your argument about Trump's success, literally every media outlet disagrees with you. I guess it's the deep state, right? Because that's their other thing. It's the deep state. The deep state is doing this. So I'm kind enough to do the work for her. And this is the Google search where I put another typo in. I need to proofread my smart ass. This is the Google search. While this is a long link, the hyperlink that's in the comment, if you click on that and try to use the whole thing, it's way too long. While this is a long link, you'll see the simple search is quite simple, even with a typo. And if you look down here in the Google bar, it says shoes economy was stronger instead of whose. I have SHOSE. Economy was stronger, Obama or Trump. And it should have been whose economy was stronger, Obama or Trump. And if you go to that, you'll see that there are plenty of argues, even if, these are the results for whose economy, it even fixed it for me. They will all tell you that Obama, not even a better economy, but a much better economy. So she replies back, seriously? You used Google? How dare you use Google? Nobody uses Google. Google doesn't know anything. You provide stats for how many men were in women's sports. All I said was even 10 was too many, which is what I said too. Trump was right when he said he could create a cure for the worst disease and Dems wouldn't be happy. And she's the one that actually said, which I was so glad to see this because I turned it right around on her. Trump was right when he said he could create Trump. You see that? Oh, I just noticed that. Look at that. Trump. The Lord Jesus Trump is in all capitals. Like that's going to make him better. He needs all the help he can get because none of it's working. Trump was right when he said he could create a cure for the worst disease and Dems wouldn't be happy. Well, resign, Donald. Take your entire administration with you, and I will personally congratulate you for curing cancer. And yes, Dems, libs, progressives, independents like me will all be happy. The world literally will rejoice. Scats can be, scats. Oh, there's a Freudian. Stats can be twisted for everyone's argue. So, and then she does the hands up emoji. And I said that I agree with you. Again, with the leaving out of facts. But the point is, and always has been with this topic, there are bigger fish to fry. I am not for athletes assigned male, biological male athletes at birth competing against women at all, ever, except in the WWE when they do those sexy co-ed matches. Everybody there is agreeing to be in that match. And whether it's fake, scripted, whatever you want to call it, everybody there is agreeing to be in that match. So, no. Male swimmers who are coming in fourth place in the male heats should not be swimming against women and taking away, creating new records. They're not new records. It's at best an asterisk by that record. I agree with that. But if this is something, if abortion is something that should be controlled by the states, that left up to the states, why is this any different? Tell me how this is different. Tell me how we have to create all these executive orders, skipping Congress, who's asleep. Tell me why we have to create all these executive orders and for what? I got to keep my head on a swivel because I got things on two sides of me that I got to try to give shout outs to people that join. Yeah, if abortion can be sent and left to the states, so can men and women's sports. I don't agree with either decision. I think there needs to be a national right for a woman to make that decision and or make that decision with her doctor and with her partner. And yes, I do believe that men, in the event that it's consensual sex, should also have the authority to say, I want the baby. But that's another can of worms to pop open. Not in the cases of incest or rape. No. So I told her, I said, I agree with you. And again, with leaving the facts out. But the point is, and always has been with this topic, there are bigger fish to fry. Literally. We're talking about eggs that are 3-4 times what they used to be less than a year ago, less than 6 months ago. We're talking about, I just saw a story about shrimp that are being sold to places like Bubba Gump Shrimp and other restaurants who claim these shrimp are from the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico. Yet they're actually from Asia. I talk about that here. Trump made no mention of how he was going to lower grocery prices, especially since so many of them come from, wait for it, Canada, Mexico, and even China. I don't know if I go on here. Yeah, here it is. Those shrimp that fast food restaurants tell you come from the Gulf of Mexico, come from a farm in Asia, mostly China. Voltaire was correct. Here it is. This was the one I was going to do yesterday. It is difficult to free fools from the chains they revere. See you at 10 Central. She's in Houston. This conversation will make for great radio. And it was like the dig, listen, call in. I dare you. Have the courage to defend your position in person, where you can't just think about and take 20 minutes to write a response. You're right here with me live on the air. No, I don't see the phone ringing. So Kimberly replies back, I wasn't leaving out facts, Ross. Let's just stop with that. Yes, stop leaving out facts. Stop leaving out facts that I give you that you're too fat and lazy to look up for yourself. Sorry he didn't say everything you wanted to, but even if he did, you wouldn't be happy with it. So this morning CBS poll said, and this is true, and again, she's leaving out facts. This morning CBS poll, and this was for Wednesday, said 76% approved of his speech. Actually, I believe it was actually 78% approved of his speech. Now, while that sounds high, again, remember I told you a second ago she's leaving out facts? It's 78% of those who watched the speech believe that it was a good speech and that they approved. And that's because when a speech like that comes over in a joint session, such as the State of the Union, which that was not, by the way, even though it kind of sort of was, that was not a State of the Union, kind of looked like it, rolled like it, we'll call it that kind of. It's usual for the audience to be made up mostly of the party of the person speaking. For example, Trump is a MAGA Republican. Most of the TV audience were MAGA Republicans. So how do you think they're going to vote in a poll like that? The fact that he couldn't get 80 or 100, kind of pathetic. To which I replied, don't tell me what I'm happy with. You said yourself that stats can be manipulated. After all, and here's I love this one. 100% of all murderers once drank milk. Doesn't bode well for the dairy industry, does it? We talked about this. Yet seriously, is that really a valuable stat? Once again, you leave out important information, and I documented 3 things she left out. Actually, 4 things she left out. 1, audiences of such addresses are dominated by the party of the person speaking. That, and I corrected her, it was 78%. 2, that 78% is from those who watch the speech. See item number 1. The three, he actually only has a 44% approval rating, the lowest of Trump 1.0, Obama, or Biden at this point in their presidencies. Keep in mind, he's still in what is called the honeymoon period. He's a new toy. Everybody loves that we have a new president, no matter how much he sucks. Most Americans also felt that he didn't address the necessary issues, to which, as usual, I did her work for her and provided a citation. One that's called The Independent, mind you, not the right leaning newspaper, the left leaning newspaper, but it's actually called The Independent. Where it falls on like the Ad Fontes media chart, I have no idea. Snap poll shows lukewarm response to Trump's speech, but blasted Democrats' behavior. I think their behavior was no different than Marjorie Taylor Greene dressing in all fluffy white, standing up and yelling boo and giving thumbs down. No different at all. But I didn't see Speaker Johnson. I think he was the speaker then. I didn't see either speaker asking for her to be removed. Regardless of the number of times she made an ass out of herself. And no, Kimberly, I didn't see you bitching about that then, did you? You think I wasn't bitching about groceries for 4 years? How about you bitching about Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jewish space lasers? Yes. I'm not going to argue with you, she says. And there's a she, I don't know if I didn't press enter on one, but I actually replied to this. I'm not going to argue with you once again. You're not being very respectful. I'm not being very respectful. She's leaving shit out. She's the one that's lying, just like Trump does. She's the one too fat and lazy to provide a citation for anything she claims is true. I'm the one not being respectful. Do you see why I'm gay? Once again, you're not being very respectful, so we can just agree to disagree. And this is what I addressed this, and I'm very positive that I addressed this. Maybe the error was somewhere between the chair and the keyboard. I don't know, but I thought I addressed this. It's not there. If not, maybe somebody deleted it somehow. I don't know. Dems, to include you, will never be happy. Trump was right. Again, yeah, I know, because that's another thing I said in the reply comment. This is like the happiest I've been in my life. I've got a job I love with people like you listening and watching who appreciate what I do, who comment. I wish somebody would learn to call. Love to talk to you. But who at least comment. We got some waiting in the chat right now. And I told her, I said, with regards to agreeing to disagree, I'm not going to just agree to disagree to your facts that are not facts. This is a MAGA thing. They take their opinion, and then because they're so high of themselves and full of themselves and filled with their own poop, they think that their opinions are fact. And they say, well, we'll just agree to disagree. No, we're talking about facts that are not correct. There's nothing to disagree about. You're wrong. There's disagreeing. Oh, I like guns. I don't. Okay. That we can agree to disagree. But when you say something like, I think we should just inject bleach and get sunlight, and that's going to magically cure COVID. No, it doesn't cure COVID. You can stand on your head and say, that cures COVID. If it doesn't cure COVID, you can stand on your head all day. You're not going to cure COVID, are you? And then these same people want to pray it away. I don't need a immunization. I don't need the stick. I've got Jesus. Well, I love that story. Um, the guy lived in a neighborhood like me. A flood came along, and it was so bad he was forced to his roof. And one of his neighbors comes by in a boat, says, "Charlie, come on, get on, come with me. We'll get to higher land." And he says, "No, God will save me." Okay. And the neighbor rows away. Up comes a powerboat. It's the sheriff's department. "Come with us. We'll take you to higher land." I'm trying to do like a loudspeaker. And he yells back that God will save him. "I'm staying here." Okay. The sheriff's department rides off. A couple of moments later, a helicopter flies by. It's the Coast Guard. "Grab the ladder. We'll take you to higher land." Yells back up, "No!" Waves at him with the two-hand thing. Waves him off, says, "God will save me." The waters continue to rise, and he drowns. He arrives at the pearly gates, arrives at heaven, is all teary-eyed and disappointed and let down. And God himself is standing there, waiting for him, arms folded across his chest, tapping a toe quite angrily, and said, "Lord, you let me down." He says, "I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What more do you want?" All right, that's my bad joke for today. Christopher, see you on Instagram. Great seeing you, man. Thanks for joining us. You are listening to Up the Middle or watching it, depending on where you're at. I got to take a break. When we come back, morning motivation. And then I'll let you go. It's only an hour show today, as it is every Tuesday and Thursday. Oh, let's, we got the rest of the comments too. So 99.1 WDJY, America One Radio, WZQR, Radio X in Australia, the UG in London, and of course, Rainbow Radio, Yerg's Radio, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after this. What are you doing later? I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to the gym, but not just any gym, Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Walk right up to the door. There's a QR code on the door. You can sign up right there. You've got no excuse. But not only that, their equipment is amazing. It's kept up well. It's expanded. There's stretching area. There's CrossFit. There's hardcore training, a dedicated area for stretching, dunk tanks, sauna, everything you need to get that Hernando beach body or keep your Clearwater beach body. You can train with your shirt off, you can scream, you can yell, and you won't be intimidated either. Go to Momentum Fitness and Wellness on US 19 in Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. Build the momentum. Rumble. You got to be even here. Actually, fair and balanced. That's why, in addition to YouTube and so many other social media platforms, we're actually also on Rumble. Go to, rumble.com/register/Yerg's Media. Remember, before we were Mastiff Media, we were Yerg's Media, and I had nothing else. I didn't get a chance to sit around and think about it. So we have been Mastiff Media, but our profile on Rumble, because we've been there for a little bit, is under our old name, rumble.com/register/Yerg's Media. If you're a content creator, use that link. I don't know what the discount is, but you will get a discount if you sign up for a membership. And like YouTube, you get more features than just the basic free one. So use that link, rumble.com/register/Yerg's Media. and be fair and balanced for real, not like Fox, and reach out to everyone. Because, like us here, up the middle is politics for the rest of us. All right, let's wrap up today with some of the comments left on today. We got Ken saying there was a bike marathon where a transgender man won that was originally broken by a woman, a prior broken by a man, that the trans man who Trump called out but didn't understand what sports was being used did, as per usual, misinformation. I think I know what you're talking about there. You're talking about a co-ed competition in that particular. And your comment is a little too big to fit it all on the screen. But here's the second part. Yeah. Actually, it's the same one. Okay, so one of the things that he talked about was transgender mice. Some of the waste that was in government was X number of millions of dollars for transgender mice. It was not transgender mice. It was transgenic mice. And what that is mice that were given genetic properties to represent more of a human person. I don't know what that looks like either. I think that's even weirder than trying to make them transgender. But it's so that when they were tested on things like drugs or whatever else, it would give the scientists more of human responses. That's what transgenic mice are. Laura's checking in from the EU. It went by 2 more times. Oh, yeah. He's talking about my joke. Yeah. It went by 2 more times. But got to send votes. I think typing and stuttering. But yeah, point being is that we have these things called brains. They take part in something called science, all of which has been given to us by God or whatever higher being you think dominates your life and represents you. It's not just, you're not that important. God is not going to appear right before you and boom, you're healed. Those days are over, I guess. And as always, Ken reminds us to like, subscribe, share, or like, share, subscribe. Either way, please do it all. Come back tomorrow for what's tomorrow? Thursday, Friday. Friday fights tomorrow. Both will be back. Matt Deemer, our resident Democrat, the really one who's on. He's kind of centrist, but he's our left-leaning representative. Blake Fisher, back from a vacation, our right-leaning representative. He's the homeless conservative. Both coming back tomorrow. Yeah. Some people, Blake or Lars, you're correct. Lars is a day trading buddy of mine, another super fan of ours, makes a regular appearance in the chat. And viewer, listener, he's checking in through YouTube. Really, some people need a brain update. Yeah. And an ego check. I love how these people on Instagram, one of the platforms, I can actually see you come in to watch the show. They are there for all of like 10 seconds and gone. I mean, I don't, do I need to strip and be a go-go dancer or something to keep their attention? I'm trying to be a little, not just entertaining, but intelligent. Also, let's see, anything else? No, we hit the others pretty good. So that's it for the affiliates today. Checking in, let's tell you where everybody's at. And my SRCA. That is for the Sea Ranch Civic Association. If you live in Western Pasco County, hey, shout out to I think Masabi's a little too far away. Maybe we'll get a chance to have him join us. Invited him to the stage. Did he leave us? Oh, there he is. Yep. Hang on one second, man. I'll get to you. I just got to go through some check-in people, and then we'll get over to you, Masab. Hang on, right? 1 minute. Yeah, if you live in Western Pasco, Southwestern Hernando, Northwestern Pinellas, or anywhere that you feel is close enough, I highly recommend joining the Sea Ranch Civic Association. Go to mysrca.com. It's actually $40 for a year now. I think they're trying to get caught up with the hurricane and such. But I mean, seriously, with everything that they've done and everything that you can get, it's definitely worth it. I highly recommend. The Capital Switchboard is area code 202-224-3121. Call your senators, call your congressmen, give them your opinion of this Doge BS. DNR Studios, we're starting with them later this month. That's for Derek and Romaine, formerly of SiriusXM, now of their own network. To learn more, go to dnrstudios.com. Jane Stahl is available at Studio BBB. StudioBBB.org is the website. Actually, it's available at Studio B. StudioBBB.org is the website. She is also the co-editor of the Boyertown Area Expression. That's our local digital newspaper in Boyertown. You can check that out by going to BoyertownAreaExpression.town.news. Philip Blackett was with me yesterday. He is our resident Trump translator. His socials are at Philip Blackett, Philip with one L, Blackett with two T's. Matt is the host of Daily Crypto News. He'll be with us tomorrow. You can reach him at matt@dailycryptonews.net and find out more about the Daily Crypto News by going to dailycryptonews.net and info@deemerforcongress.com. Blake is the host of The Homeless Conservative. Go to thehomelessconservative.com for more there. You can reach him at blake@thehomelessconservative.com. You can get us all, news, NEWZ, at yergs.com. And for more information and show notes, go to yergs.com or mastiff.media. Up next is, I don't see him in the chat either, actually. Let's see if he's here. Nope. But up next is Sportcat with Sportcat's Daily Gazette. That's it. Oh, that's why. That's in an hour. We're only an hour today. He's at 11. Or excuse me, he's at 1. So, yeah, that's another hour. I get to run over a little bit today if I want. Ken says, maybe when I take a day off, I can get on the phone and get on video. Nice. Lovely to have you. I got to do one more thing yet that we really don't have time to do, but now that I know that I got some extra time. Today's morning motivation, even though it's not morning anymore, and we lost 99-1. Today's morning motivation is from Dave Ramsey. He is a conservative, which is key for the whole point of using this quote for today. He is a conservative talk show host, economist, and financial advisor. When I say financial advisor, I mean he talks about it on the radio and has some very successful plans. Not that he's a licensed financial advisor. I don't know that he is. Maybe he is. I don't know. But he's certainly helped me. Dave, that's him on a show in his home office studio, where he says, no one succeeds at something they hate. I got that from an actual episode that we were watching. Somebody said that I hate my job, but I'm really good at it. And he said, nobody succeeds at something they hate. And that just stuck. And I was also already at a point where I was glad that I retired from the Secret Service because it was becoming more of a job and less of a career. I wasn't being utilized to the way that I could have been. And I just like, yeah, it's not worth it. So Kimberly, fellow coworker of mine, if you're listening, don't hate people that disagree with you, especially when they provide you actual facts that don't align with yours. You did a job alongside of me that is very unorthodox. If we were all to be in a room together right now, and I pulled a gun and started shooting, I promise you, each and every one of you would react in a very different manner. And you would learn who your friends are and who they're not. But what we do at the Secret Service by throwing ourselves in front of that threat, in front of that gun, one, takes a lot of practice because two, it's not normal. It's not the usual reaction. So I would think, Kimberly, that you would be a little bit better. You want to call me out for be better, do better than that, or whatever it was, how you ever worded it. Be better. Realize you might not be right. Realize that however you did an advance, when somebody comes along and does that same site differently from how you did it, doesn't make them wrong, doesn't make you wrong. It's just different. But when we don't incorporate certain things that are assets we know we have and are supposed to be using, that's wrong. Google is an asset that you have that you are not using. The facts that I presented to you in that conversation are assets that you had that you refuse to use. Make that change. And like you advise to me, I say right back to you, be better. Let's see what Masad has to say. You're on the stage on Chatter. You're also talking to about 45,000 people on the radio. So welcome. If you want to unmute, you're welcome to join. Now that you're on the stage with us, can you hear us?
Yeah, hello there. How are you?
Welcome.
I hope you are doing great. Thank you for having me here. This
Could
is
you not
Musab from
hear?
Sudan.
Could you not hear
There
me
is an
when you were
echo.
not on the stage?
No, I can't hear you. Like I can't hear you.
Oh, he muted.
Yeah, I can't hear you because there is an echo.
Okay. Yeah, but I saw your text message when you said there's no audio. I got that before, and I thought they had fixed that. They being the developers of the Chatter app, but
Mm, yeah, sometimes like a few minutes ago, I have been in some place or some room or table, but when I stay on the stage, I can't hear the conversation over there.
okay. Yeah, I'll message Nelson and all the guys and try to get some time where we can all get together and test it. So we're here every day, 11 a.m. Eastern. Where you hollering in from? Where you at?
Yeah, I'm original from Sudan.
Okay.
I live in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Also
it.
awesome. Another country to. I don't know what a time. I know it. Yeah, I don't know what time it is there now, but
Yeah, it is.
we started an hour ago, and we start Monday through
Mm-hmm.
Friday at that same time. So whatever time it was an hour
Oh,
ago at the top of the hour, you're welcome to join us right here on Chatter, and hope to hear more from you
okay.
soon.
That's that's so kind of you. I really appreciate that.
Likewise, thanks for raising your hand and let me see in you and um, joining us today. So that's Masab from Saudi Arabia. That is why I'm trying to develop additional stations and apps like this to develop awareness, to try to let the rest of the world know the United States is not filled and totally dominated by the asshat who spoke on TV the other night. No one succeeds at something they hate. I love what I'm doing. I love that you all check in and give us a shout out from wherever you're at. And as such, take part in the conversation. But I also love that you appreciate what we in the United States are doing by trying to get our country back. So all of you can keep yours. That's it for us today. I'll see you again tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. Let me go down to use my favorite toy. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. And where's my, hold on. There we go. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, 4 a. I got to go back. It tells me what time it is right now, so that kind of screws stuff up. 3 a.m. Sydney and Melbourne, 12 midnight in Perth, Australia, 1700 in Berlin, 4 p.m. London, 11 a.m. Eastern, and 8 Pacific. Make sure you join us 5 days a week. And we'll see you again tomorrow for Friday Fights. Blake and Matt will be joining us. And I think with not just the speech from the other day, from the other night, but also plenty of other things we'll be fighting about. Right now it's 4:09 a.m. in Sydney and Melbourne, 1:09 a.m. Perth, 18:09 in Berlin, 5:09 London, 12:09 Atlanta and the East Coast, and 9:09 a.m. Las Vegas and the West Coast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for running with the big dogs and getting off the porch. Thanks for going with us up the middle. We will see you tomorrow.